Hi everyone, welcome to Booze and Reviews, and we've got our wine.
Episode 1.
We've got Sutter home. I'll put a link down in the description. It's sweet. If you look, it's good for people that are just starting off drinking wine, especially because it has a meter right on the back that tells you if it's sweet, medium dry, or just dry. We don't like that kind of wine dry, so
we tried.
It wasn't good.
Literally, this rosé is the only kind of wine I will drink.
It's the only kind of wine I'll drink. It was actually in my fridge, and I couldn't get it open for a second there.
Good job.
Don't mind our fancy wine glasses.
Our not sponsored wine glasses. All right, without further ado, let's get started. That's delicious.
That's so much better than what we made.
What we made was sin. So, Jacinia, what was the movie that we watched?
We decided to watch Sinister. Of course, that was the second movie that we decided to watch because we started off watching Evil Dead, and the acting
Was terrible.
So we just decided, like 20 minutes into it, this is not for us. And plus, there was an evil worm thing that.
Yeah, we won't go into that.
No.
So Sinister is a movie that came out in 2012. It is horror, obviously, and it is a paranormal horror.
Yeah, it starts off not that way. I honestly thought that it was going to be more of a crime thing and more of a thriller, but it definitely did get sinister.
What were the ratings? God.
I have no idea.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It was like
No.
60-something. Upper 60s, I think.
I think if I had, we decided to rate it, but that will come after.
No, I'm
our
not saying
analysis.
our rating. I'm saying the rating that
Yes.
was on the television. It was like 67 or something.
So it was a 3 out of 4 on the Roger Ebert scale.
And a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And IMDb gave it a 6.8 out of 10, which isn't so bad. It's not
what I would
so
give
good.
it.
But you want to go into our analysis of the movie?
Let's start with our analysis.
I figured we could start with the pros. I actually, while watching the movie, made a pros and cons list because I don't know why. I'm a writer, and I decided that was necessary.
So we started watching this last night for us. For you guys, I don't know what day it is. And we were very tired when we started watching it. This one fell asleep halfway through. And
Which I've been prone to do.
yeah. And I continued watching it, so when we watched it again this morning, I was desensitized to most of what was going on. I was actually laughing. But anyway, so if you want to begin with your pros, let's...
My pros, I'm going to start with 2 of my pros. My pro was that the storyline wasn't like other movies that I've seen. I mean, it was generic horror, scary, and thriller with a little bit of supernatural, paranormal crap.
Pause. Spoiler alerts.
The storyline...
Old movie.
The storyline was really good. I know. Storyline was really good, and it wasn't really something that I'd seen before. And also, the acting was good, which was very important for us. As we said, we watched another movie where the acting was subpar.
Well, I mean...
There were some parts... Okay, that's on my cons list. Okay. There were some parts where the acting was very good.
Oh, no, I agree. The acting was far better. Like, in comparison to The Evil Dead, which was what we started with, the whole reason we stopped watching The Evil Dead was because the acting was terrible. But, I mean, this one actually seemed like they were real people.
You could actually tell that, like, you could...
It was more believable.
You could see, like, actual fear on his face, and that's something you want to see if you're going to watch a horror movie.
Yeah. It's not, oh, hey, you look fairly attractive. You want to be in a movie? I have no acting skills.
That's how we figured they casted for Evil Dead.
Yeah. Except for that one girl.
We should also point out that we did not watch the original Evil Dead. We watched the remake.
Why didn't we watch the original Evil Dead, Jacinia?
Because I have an issue with movies that were made before the 2000s, only because I know that they are better when they're made back when. Unfortunately, I can't get into the headspace of a scary movie when it's old. The only reason is because I can basically see the wires on some of them. But I will say, Carrie scared me the first time.
We should watch Halloween.
We should. Those movies. I will watch those movies. Another pro that I had was that the jump scares were actually good in some parts. Like, there were parts where I was like, it's gonna happen, and I still jumped.
The only jump scare that actually got to me was when he fell from the attic. And it got to me the first time because, like I said before, she was asleep. This was at like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was completely dark. I was the only one awake, and then all I hear is boom! It scared me. And then the one at the end. That one kind of got to me, but not as much.
Another pro that I had was that creepy children. That's always a creep factor. Creepy children will, in some ways, carry the movie, which could also be a con in some ways. I mean, creepy children are
because it can get overplayed.
Yeah, but
very easily.
I honestly think the creepy children in some parts were the best part of the movie. Yeah. And my last pro was the cop. He was no idiot.
Freaking loved him.
He was like the only one that was, yes, I'm a cop. Yes, I will help you, but I would not stay in this house. You cray.
I have brain smarts and I have common sense smarts.
Yeah, and not many people have that when in a horror movie. You either have one or the other, not both.
Yeah.
My cons are like so much more well thought out.
Yeah.
My con was that there were times when the acting was good, but it didn't make sense. Because there were times that all of a sudden they were fighting, and then they were kissing
Lovey-dovey.
and lovey-dovey, and that didn't make any sense to me coming from somebody who's been in a relationship. I don't care who you are, what your star sign is, people believe in that, you hold a grudge, and especially if it's not, I don't mean hold a grudge, I just mean like if you're in the moment, you don't go from fighting to forgiving in the same moment.
Yeah. No, that kind of took a level of believability away from it, from me personally, because I'm very stubborn. So if I think I'm right about something, I will viciously defend it.
But you know what? A lot of people in relationships are. There's especially when you're fighting with your partner, or even if you're any kind of relationship, you know, friendship, mother-daughter, father-daughter, whatever. In the same moment, you can get mad at each other, and I feel like in some ways, depending on the level of anger, you don't flip a coin and it's all better.
Right. Like, I'm saying, like, if I get into an argument with somebody, I stew over it for at least a week and a half. At least.
Yeah. It's different for me only because I live with my mom right now, and me and my mom are so much alike that we fight constantly. And there are times in which we have to flip that coin, but it's definitely not in the same conversation. Like, that you have to move away from each other, come back.
My dad and I we're in, like, the same situation where I live with my dad. And we literally have the same birthday. So we are the same people, just opposite genders. And if we fight about something, we will not talk to each other for at least like 4 or 5 days. And then, like, out of nowhere, we'll just be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
But, like, we still have that time.
But that definitely took away some of the believability for me.
Yeah.
Like,
at the time, it was only a joke. The first time we watched, actually, the whole time we watched this, I just kept saying, oh, is such and such going to happen? Oh, is such and such going to happen?
That's right.
And every time I said it, it happened.
Predictability.
It was so predictable.
You never want predictability.
Like the lawnmower thing.
The lawnmower thing.
That was extremely predictable.
We knew that was coming.
But, like the little, I don't remember, like, I did at least 5
You
or
knew the
6.
pool party was coming.
Yeah. It wasn't even just the video thing, though. It was, like, other, like, familial things.
Like, how about, almost every jump scare was
predictable.
Mr. Boogie jumping in your face, and you knew it was going to happen. Like, as they pan the camera away, you know his face is coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes you jump, sometimes you don't.
Even with, like, the music, too, though. Like,
yeah, the music gets you. That was actually another con for me. Mr. Boogie. How unoriginal is that?
That wasn't my con.
But how unoriginal is Mr. Boogie? Just literally the Boogeyman.
Yeah, not even. It was a
Boogeyman.
It was a deity. It wasn't even the boogeyman. Another con I had on the topic of sound was that the music and the background sound. I know it's a horror movie and they're supposed to have creepy music, but because some of the background music had words to it, so it was taking away from the immersion for me, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, what the hell are they saying?
At one point they were counting.
Yeah. And I was paying more attention to that than I was the movie, and there was no jump scare at the time for me to get like, oh, boom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being tricked. It was just distracting.
Which kind of segues into, as far as immersion, kind of segues into one of my cons, was that we watched it on Sci-Fi, and that was a little harder for me to get into because it's not connected. You go through commercials, so...
But that's not like a general movie con, that's just a platforming
I know, that's
con.
a platforming con. But that was a con for me because we really tried to get a movie that was on like Stars or HBO,
And we didn't.
And we couldn't find one that we neither of us had ever seen before.
Yeah, because I watch horror movies like there's no tomorrow.
And we wanted to get one that neither of us were desensitized to.
And the problem, too, with being on Sci-Fi is that the cuts that they made for commercials were such weird parts.
And some of them didn't even actually have the commercials.
Yeah, it was just like fade to black. Oh, we're back. Or fade to black, 3-minute commercial. We're back. Like, really?
And there's probably stuff cut out that we didn't even get to see.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was a made-for-TV movie. Or what wasn't a made-for-TV movie.
It was an edited-for-TV movie
Yes.
because they edited out words to it. And you could see the word that they were supposed to say. Like, shit.
Or fuck. And it was like...
So, yeah, I do agree that you have to watch it on the right platform.
Mm-hmm. If you just buy the movie or go for something on Netflix, because if you watch it on the TV, whether it's a made-for-TV movie or if it's cut and edited for TV, it's not as good. You're not going to get that total immersion if you're stopping for commercials and Target pops up with a nice catchy song, which happened every time.
Yeah. What's his face is looking up a new murder. Find out what happens next after this commercial break, or after a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, it was...
That's basically what it was.
Yeah. Then there was the opportunities that they missed, for me. Because there was one scene in which the children were running through the house. The children of Mr. Boogie's, they were his victims. But the fact that they were just running through the house for no apparent reason didn't make it any scarier for me. Instead, I would have liked to see it...
Because it wasn't like he was registering that there was another presence there. Like, he was, but he wasn't.
Yeah, but at the same time, why were they running through the house? Doesn't make any sense. It would have been better if they were just out of eye shot, and every time he turned, they were gone. But at the same time, there was one part where the little girl was right there, and if he did, and he basically looked right at her.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. And I feel like there were opportunities missed to make that a little bit creepier and make me more scared, but it didn't drag me in like it should have.
And a lot of it had to do with, like, the camera work, too, because they would pan off to the side a little bit, and you would expect, oh, there's going to be something in the background, and there wasn't, and then you just kind of feel let down.
Or there was one part where he moved past it, and you thought, oh, when he moves his head, that thing's going to be gone. But it was still standing there. And you're like, you missed an opportunity to really be scary. Or if it had been closer.
Yeah.
If it had been closer to him, it would have been scarier.
Yeah, that would have been better.
But it just kind of... It didn't drag me in like I wanted it to. My biggest con, it was basically The Ring. Because you watch the movie, you die. That's what it was. It was basically The Ring.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. When I put 2 and 2 together, I was like, oh, such a fabulous story. It's not like any other thing. Oh, wait, no, it is. It's The Ring. It was the Boogeyman plus The Ring.
This is a little pointless of a con, but... They moved from the most beautiful house into a murder house. Like, who does that? Well, I get why he did it, in a way. Not really.
And if that house isn't in number 2, I'm going to be pissed. Because somebody's supposed to move into the murder house.
No, they're supposed to move into the house that they lived in.
They're supposed to move into the house they got murdered in.
Yeah, they're supposed to move into the big, beautiful house.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
That's I thought you were talking about the other
new
murder
house. So if nobody moves into that house... I'm gonna be pissed. If that house isn't in the second one.
Oh yeah, you wanna the next one.
Yeah, our biggest con was the ending. You expect this big lead up, and oftentimes this big redemption story, or this big, oh, we're gonna break the curse, break the chain. The movie was an hour and 50 minutes.
Okay, so the movie was an hour and 50 minutes. Take out like 10 of that for credits. So you're left with an hour and 40 minutes. A solid hour and 20 minutes. Solid hour and 20 minutes. Was the lead up to the end. And it was just building and building and building. And you think that, oh, it's going to be like a really big finale because of the lead up that we've, watched. And it's not. It's literally like a 5-10 minute thing.
Yeah.
And it is the most unsatisfying ending.
It was very unsatisfying.
With the amount of research that What's-His-Face Ellison did, you would think that he would survive. But he doesn't. He just falls victim.
You would think that in this lead up, it would be, like I said, kind of like a redemption story in the way that, oh, I am a smarter person. I am going to break the curse. I'm going to set these people free. Their souls can rest, whatnot. There was none of that. I mean, I get that they left it open for a second movie, but we didn't know there was going to be a second movie. I get that it was in 2012. We had to look it up. We didn't know if there was going to be conclusion. And honestly, when you go into making a movie, you can never make it for a sequel. You need to hope that there's going to be a sequel.
Yeah.
You can hope that you're going to intrigue people enough to
That's what we
become
call
a sequel.
Percy Jackson syndrome.
Yeah. So overall, we're gonna rate this movie.
Overall, it wasn't a bad movie.
No.
I probably would watch it again.
We actually went looking for the sequel, so it was engaging enough for us to be like, oh, what the hell happens next?
The storyline itself was interesting enough for us to go, okay, well, I want to see the conclusion.
That also had to do with the ending. I will give it that.
Yeah.
The ending was unsatisfying in the way that it's not like, oh, well, I would never watch that again or ever show that to any of my friends.
It's like when you're watching Harry Potter in the Deathly Hallows, where it's split up into 2 movies. Mm-hmm. So you get to the end of the first one, and it's basically the end of Act 1, so you're like, okay, now where's Act 2?
Yeah, I will
because
give
you
the
know
ending
it's
that.
not done.
Yeah, you could feel that the movie was not done.
Yeah.
So I will give it that.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, it wasn't bad. I will probably watch it again if I can.
Yeah, if it's ever, like, not like a movie that I would go out, like, seeking. Yeah. I would not seek it out.
But if it's on, I'm not gonna change the channel.
Yeah.
Because I've seen
or
it.
I would show it to one of my friends, but I would show it with Sinister 2. Especially, even though we haven't seen it yet, I would still, because I wouldn't want to do that to them, because it was like, here's the movie, oh wait, you wanted an ending? Sorry, it's in the next one.
Ooh, about that. But overall, not bad. So on a scale of 1 to 5, what did you give it?
We actually, before that, we actually decided that we were going to do a scale of spooks. 1 spook being totally sucktacular. It wasn't worth watching again. 5 spooks being, oh my god, I think that I will fall in love with this movie and watch it again and again and again. So out of 5 spooks, I would give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
Solid 3.5.
It wasn't terrifying.
But it could have been scarier.
Yeah. It wasn't bad, but yeah, it could have been.
And for any of you that didn't know, this movie actually made it on an IMDb list of good movies for jump scares. So if that's what you're into, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think, wait.
Oh god, I have too much. On a scale of 1 to 5 for the movie in general, what would you give it?
For the all around, for just the movie?
Yeah, for all around just the movie.
Still a 3.5. I think.
That was too much.
That was amazing. High 5.
I would give it like a 3.4, 3.5.
Something around that range. So, if you're looking for a movie that doesn't quite make it, like especially for people that get too scared, it's a good movie to pick.
Yeah.
Alright, I think that's it.
Alright. If you have any suggestions for other movies you want us to review, leave them in the comment section down below and we will check them out.
Alright, bye guys. Happy Halloween.